address that?
I mean, I would almost say these statements are more a bullet point list of the things that will happen when you love Christ. The way I look at the way this is put together, and it's like, if you love me, the pattern of your life is obedience, and you're gonna have the Holy Spirit. Not so much the, if you love me and you obey me, you'll get this.
So here we are at part 4 of my examination of the Paul Washer and Joe Beeke interview regarding the book, Being the Man of God. So, I'm slowly chopping away at this hour-and-a-half clip, and I'm genuinely enjoying it. There's so much knowledge and truth that men and women can learn from. So let's get into the next clip, and then I'll give my take after, as usual.
Anyways, that I like to say this, when I'm talking to a congregation or I'm talking to my family, sometimes I preach sideways, and they go, "What do you mean?" It's not me looking at my family going, "This is what you have to do, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to do." It's kind of like me going, "Did you hear what he said to all of us here?" And then also the idea, and we've talked about this before, the king in Israel, he had the power of life and death. Yet he was subject to the law. He had no authority apart from correctly expounding and living that law. And then we talk about teaching the Bible. It's not you imposing your will upon anyone. It's just correctly expounding what God said in the Word.
Yeah.
A prophet has to be faithful to represent God and not use the words for himself.
That's right. That's right. And you've got to do that all affectionately and lovingly. So just picture a dad with one child on one knee, 4-year-old and a 2-year-old or 3-year-old, embracing them both. And then picture the wise man, the father in Proverbs saying, "Come near to me, my son. I will give you understanding. I will teach you wisdom." And that kind of picture, I like to picture the wise man giving advice in all kinds of areas of life in the book of Proverbs, but he's doing it all lovingly.
So to start off, I love how Paul Washer gives the example of how he, in a sense, preaches sideways. Now, speaking primarily to the men, this is very important to understand. Okay, it's very easy for a man to take advantage of a submissive wife and children for the sake of his ego. Okay, what every Christian man, husband, father has to understand is that we are not the primary head. Jesus Christ is, which means we have to answer to him. Okay, and never forget, even Jesus was subject to the law. Now, this doesn't mean that husbands are to be perfect and that we will be perfect and do everything correctly. Okay, we are fallible, sinful men. We are not perfect. But if you are a man of God, you will possess a healthy fear of God, and you will understand that literally, listen, your family's spiritual growth, discipline, and survival, that hangs primarily with you as the husband, as the father, as the man in that household. Now, we all understand as Christian men that we must be loving, okay? We must be loving, we must be kind and sensible with our wives and children. But we must also be, key word, masculine. Masculine, strong, assertive, and direct, okay? It's imperative that your children see a masculine man, a man with bass in his voice that demands obedience to the children under his roof, okay? Look, in my own personal life, I've seen too many parents try to be their children's friends, and it never works. And these same parents wonder why their children disrespect them, okay? Please listen to me, men. If your children do not respect you, you cannot lead them. You cannot lead someone that will not listen to you. This is why there are so many families where the children literally openly disrespect their parents. Okay, and it always comes back to the fact that there's simply a coward at the head of that family. It's imperative that your daughters see you as a strong, masculine man. See, in today's world, that's a bad word, masculinity. Okay, the world wants you to be weak. It wants you to be soft. It wants you to be willing to cry and share all your emotions, your traumas, and your anxieties with your wife. Just lay all that load on your wife. Be weak and soft. Okay, I saw a video on YouTube about house husbands, about house husbands. I remember reading the comments, the amount of women and men in the comments that were praising the guy who literally stayed home with the children while his wife went out to work. They were praising him, saying he was a real man, and saying he's a man that truly understands women. This world is twisted. Okay, we're this is what we're seeing. What's right is wrong. What's right is what is hated, and what's wrong is what is exalted and praised. Okay, we must be men. Okay, your role as dad to your daughter is basically to show your daughter what a man she should want to marry looks like. That's your job. Okay, to live in a way to where she learns what a man she should want to marry looks like. Okay, your role as dad to your son is to show him what a man he should a man that he should be looks like. Okay, my dad growing up was a very hardworking man. I mean, he was extremely hardworking. If he did anything well in life, it was working hard. That's why he was pretty much he rose to the top of the government. I mean, he just was a very hardworking man. He provided. What I saw growing up was him always getting up early and going to work. Okay, and that's primarily why I am the way I am with my job. I tend to be the first person at the office. I tend to be always punctual, always on time, always willing to go up and beyond, because that was instilled in me young. I got to see that firsthand in my father, the way he worked hard, the way he took care of his body, the way he handled business in general. Okay, your children are watching always, and they're learning without knowing it. It's essentially learning at a subconscious level. So we must be men. Be a man, okay, and be a man of God.